Well, good afternoon. My name is Matt Stockdale, and I am the volunteer lay pastor at Triad Adventist Fellowship in Greensboro, North Carolina. We're here to talk about the year of baptism. And baptism is such an amazing thing. And I said I was a volunteer lay pastor. I'm also an attorney. That's what I do for a full-time job. And as an attorney and as a volunteer lay pastor, you could say that I am a professional storyteller. So I want to tell you about 3 stories today. 3 stories about life change through baptism. The first story I want to tell you is about Joanna. Joanna didn't have any background in the Adventist church, really not much of a background in Christianity. But she started coming to Triad Adventist Fellowship because of her boyfriend. Her boyfriend had been an Adventist and brought her along. And as you see on the screen, we're getting ready to start a new sermon series on the Sermon on the Mount. And I shared this post on Facebook encouraging people to come for this new sermon series. Out of all of my church members, the only person who shared that wasn't even a church member at the time. Joanna shared it, and I love what she says about don't be afraid of it being an Adventist church and how we were accepting of her. So let me tell you the rest of Joanna's story. I told you her boyfriend was an Adventist. The problem was her boyfriend was also abusive. Yes, not all Adventists are great people. He was abusive and treated her wrongly. And it would have been very justifiable for her to walk away from a church that the only connection she had to that church was that abusive boyfriend. But we loved her and we accepted her, and she kept coming. She kept coming. She got involved, started working in children's Sabbath school, and eventually this happened. I had the privilege of baptizing Joanna and seeing how that life that had no connection to the Adventist church, how that life can change through the love of Jesus. And by us loving her and embracing her, she is now an active, vibrant member of our church. Baptism is amazing. Next person I want to tell you about is Sandra. See, Sandra, when we first met Sandra at the church, she was homeless. She didn't have a place to stay, and we helped her by putting her into a hotel until she could get back on her feet. And we, again, someone with no background in Adventism, but we loved her just like she was. And eventually I was there when she was baptized as well. Now, unfortunately, Sandra has passed away now. She had a massive heart attack and died, but what I love is that her Facebook profile picture said, "I love my church." Baptism can change people's lives, can change everything about them and bring them to Jesus. And that's what we're called to do. That's what this year is about, bringing people to Jesus who are far from Jesus, maybe had no idea who Jesus was, but bringing them to Jesus. Now, this last story I want to tell you about is a recent ongoing story, and quite frankly, I think it's really amazing. It's about Mia. See, Mia had, again, no background in the Adventist church. She didn't even live in North Carolina. She lived in Louisiana, and how she made it to our church was through a person she met online, Eddie Jr., who you see pictured with her. Eddie Jr., in fact, wasn't even a member of our church. Now, his parents and his sister was, and most of the members probably didn't even know that Eddie Jr. existed because he had a severe anxiety about being around people. So he stayed inside most of the time, but he met Mia online. And he started sharing Jesus with Mia, started sharing our worship service online, and eventually Mia started to accept Jesus. Now, unfortunately, Eddie Jr. passed away during COVID. And Mia came to North Carolina from Louisiana to be here when he passed away. And Eddie Jr.'s family embraced her, brought her into their home and into the love of Jesus. In this past summer, we had an evangelistic series with Roger Hernandez, who you see there pictured with me and Mia after her baptism. See, Mia was running our social media for that evangelistic series before she was ever baptized. She was running our social media and being there, helping others come to Jesus before she had ever been baptized. Now, as you can tell, Mia is in a wheelchair. And she was worried about how she was going to be able to get into and out of the baptistry. Understandably so. She didn't want to inconvenience anybody, but I remember talking to Mia the day she got baptized. And I remember telling her, reminding her of that story in the Bible where the 4 friends of the paralytic took him up to the roof and broke through the roof and lowered him down to Jesus. I said, Mia, let us help you get there. So that's what we did. We had one person lift her up out of the wheelchair. We had another person inside the baptistry that handed her over into the baptistry. And then I had the privilege of baptizing her. You know, this is a difficult time we're in. I saw a recent Barna study that said that 38% of pastors are thinking of leaving full-time ministry. It's tough. But whenever I see someone get baptized, whenever I see them come up out of the water, the look on their face, the glow, the shine, and see that life changed, it's always worth it. If I'm honest, I'm probably part of that 38%. There have been times during this pandemic that I've thought about quitting. I've thought about all the time I spend in the legal realm, and do I really have enough time to also be a volunteer lay pastor? Seeing people give their life to Jesus, seeing people baptized, makes it all worth it. So I want to encourage you to keep working, keep sowing the seeds, keep harvesting whatever God brings to you. Because baptizing someone is the most amazing thing that I've ever had the privilege of doing. And I'm sure we can all agree, seeing one more person come to Jesus makes it all worth it. See my phone number, my email address. I love talking to people. If you got any questions, reach out, and I'll do everything I can to help you, encourage you to bring more people to Him. Thanks, and have a great day.